And greetings, friends. Today I want to talk to you about a scripture in Luke, the 2nd chapter, verse 36. Now, this scripture many people use to try and prove that all 12 tribes of Israel are Jews. Now, if you're a regular visitor to our YouTube channel, we've done many videos proving that the house of Israel were never Jews, that the kingdom split. The kingdom of Israel split into two during the time of Rehoboam, and the north became the kingdom of the house of Israel, and the south became the kingdom of the house of Judah. And they had two separate capitals, one at Samaria and one down in Jerusalem. And then we see four whole books of the Bible, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, that show the completely separate national histories, separate national dynasties of kings, again, separate national capitals of the house of Israel to the north and the house of Judah to the south. And that the house of Israel never said that they were Jews. They never identified themselves as Jews. And the first time you see the word Jew is in 2 Kings 16:6. And the Jews are at war with Israel. That three-letter nickname just means a Judahite, a person from Judah. So we've proved that time and time again. But of course, people continue to come up with these proof texts, and Luke, the 2nd chapter, verse 36, is just another proof text people try to use to show that all 12 tribes of Israel are Jews. Well, the house of Israel got taken away into their new homelands between the Black and the Caspian Sea. And that was their homeland until they dispersed from there and went up through the Black and the Caspian Sea, and of course migrated into their new homelands in northwestern Europe, the British Isles, and of course eventually North America, and colonized the world. But people still cling on to this belief that all 12 tribes of Israel are Jews. And here's one in Luke, the 2nd chapter, verse 36, another one rather, Luke, the 2nd chapter, verse 36, where it says, "And there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Penuel, of the tribe of Asher." And they say, see, there we have a person of the house of Israel in Palestine. Now, in Walter Martin's book, Kingdom of the Cults, he writes this on page 316. He says that the Bible calls her a Jewess. Anywhere in the Bible does it say that Anna was a Jewess. It says here she was a prophetess of the daughter of Penuel of the tribe of Asher. Now, why is the house of Israel in Palestine in the 1st century? Well, many people do not realize that before King Herod, the Parthians ruled Palestine. And who are the Parthians? If you read our booklet, The United States and Britain in Prophecy, you will find that the Parthians are the house of Israel. And of course, occupied Palestine for a few years, but then again, King Herod took over, and of course, Palestine was occupied by the Romans. But we also see in Acts, the 2nd chapter, verse 36, Peter, his first sermon on the day of Pentecost, said this in verse 36 of Acts 2. He says, "Therefore, let all the house of Israel know assuredly that God hath made that same Jesus, whom ye have crucified, both Lord and Christ." So here again we see the house of Israel in Palestine during Pentecost. Why is that? Well, notice what it says here in Acts, the 2nd chapter, verse 5, 9, and 11. Who is Peter addressing? It says here, "And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven, Parthians, Medes." That's another place where the house of Israel dwelt when they got taken away by the Assyrians. The Elamites, same place. And the dwellers of Mesopotamia, same place. That's the Parthian Empire. And in Judea, Cappadocia, and Pontus, Asia, Pamphylia and Egypt, and parts of Libya about Cyrene, the strangers and strangers in Rome, Jews and proselytes. Proselytes are people who converted to Judaism. They were not Jews of the house of Judah. And who are these people? Parthians, Medes, Elamites, dwellers of Mesopotamia. These are the people of the Parthian Empire. And notice what Stephen Collins says. He writes, "During the 3 years of the Parthian rule over Palestine, there would have been considerable exchange of information between Jews and Parthians." Stephen Collins goes on to say this on page 245 of his book, The Lost 10 Tribes of Israel Found. He says, there is at least one record of a Parthian provincial king adopting Judaism, indicating that some Parthian rulers did acknowledge the God of the Bible. The presence of Parthian pilgrims at the Pentecost celebration in Jerusalem, Acts 2, verse 9, confirms that a portion of Parthia's population also served the God of the Bible. And even, again, Josephus says that the lost 10 tribes of Israel were beyond the river Euphrates. And everybody knew at that time, when you said beyond the river Euphrates, that meant the Parthian Empire. So most likely, Anna, the prophetess of the tribe of Asher, came from the Parthian Empire and dwelt in Palestine and served the God of Israel. And it's also interesting that we find gravestones in Parthia, and many of these people that were buried, they still knew what tribe they came from. But eventually, of course, that knowledge became lost as Parthia left the Black and the Caspian Sea and then migrated up into northwestern Europe. Eventually, as they migrated out, that knowledge was lost. But during the time of the Parthian Empire, many of the Parthians knew that they were of one of the tribes of the house of Israel. So nowhere does it say here in the Bible, according to Walter Martin, that she is a Jew. Instead, it says here that she was of the tribe of Asher, showing that the gospel writers knew the difference between the house of Israel and the house of Judah. In Matthew, the 10th chapter, verse 5 through 6, Jesus sent his apostles to the house of Israel. And then he also said in Matthew, the 15th chapter, verse 24, he said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The gospel writers and the apostles knew that there was a difference between the house of Israel and the house of Judah, the Jews. So to say that this scripture proves that all 12 tribes of Israel are Jews is just another Bible misconception.